Ari Melber, our chief legal correspondent, has been watching and listening with us. Ari, curious to get your take on the hours we've seen transpire thus far.
I've been watching it all in your coverage, joining you here for the first time. Brian, you came out of the first part of this and said you saw he put a blowtorch to the White House. I would say, in addition to that and the bombshells we've heard about, this was an IED from Mr. Sondland. He improvised as he went in the course of his testimony, and he exploded. Quid pro quo bribery, number one. Obviously a headline as we see Chairman Schiff approaching the committee room there. Everyone in the loop. He was saying this isn't a shadow foreign policy. It was the foreign policy. It was not about a legitimate investigation, according to Sondland, Brian. It was all about U.S. consumption of the rumors of a Biden probe. He was a firsthand participant, and that's something to keep in mind for everyone. There's a thin line here between Sondland as a witness and Sondland as an alleged co-conspirator. And fifth and finally, and I think this will get more attention as it sinks in, Gordon Sondland's a current employee of President Trump, Brian. And he said today under oath that he opposes the Trump administration defiance of this process, of this impeachment probe, because if he had gotten more help with the evidence and the material, he might have been able to cooperate better, more fully and more truthfully. Very rarely, Brian, in any hearing, let alone an impeachment hearing, do you see a current employee of the president call him out not only for alleged bribery, but for alleged obstruction. Both of those, Brian, this morning are potential articles of impeachment.
All right, Melber, thank you for that. And all we know is Ambassador Sondland fully intends to fly back to Brussels tonight and resume his duties, as we heard. We're giving a good go-round to this expression. Yesterday, I theorized it goes back to Bush 41, the expression out of the loop. And the genesis of it was a paper routing slip in the era before electronic communications that had all of the offices in the West Wing, all of the stops.
When I worked there, you still got speeches that way, hard copies. And the loop was on the outside of the brown envelope. You saw who, and it was called staffing.
Initial as you went.
Yeah, it was called staffing a document, and the loop was a distribution list. And you're right, because it's been turned against everyone. And Sondland has been turned against his political patron, Donald Trump. And I just keep going back to Don McGahn. And he was Robert Mueller's star witness. He was in with Robert Mueller more than 30 hours that we know of. He provided almost all or a big chunk of the testimony that was ultimately described in the second half of the Mueller report. But I don't know if the right term is turning state's evidence, but he was the witness against the president in the obstruction case in the Mueller probe. And you can, based on what Ari's wise legal analysis it would appear that Sondland is being used in the same way as the witness against Donald Trump's role in directing an extortion campaign.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.